Alright, here's the exact system I use to learn any new track fast. First, I run a few baseline laps and figure out which corners are killing my time. Then I'll do a couple small setup tweaks to get the car rotating the way I want. After that, I pull Pi Toolbox and compare my braking and throttle traces to see what I'm actually doing wrong. Then I watch top split drivers through the key corners, and once I understand the difference, I go back out and combine it all into one clean lap. This is where micro tweaks make a huge difference. For understeer, I might free up the car just a little so it rotates naturally into the corner. And for oversteer, I'm trying to make the rear feel planted so I can get back on throttle earlier without the car snapping. Alright, phase one is always baseline laps. When I load into a brand new track, I'm not trying to be fast immediately. I'm trying to be consistent. The first thing I'm looking for is what corners feel uncomfortable, like the ones where I'm braking too late, missing apexes, or getting surprised by the car on entry. So for these first few laps, I pick a simple goal. Hit the same braking point every lap, find a safe line, and start building reference points. Because once you have reference points, you can actually start improving instead of guessing. And here's the key. If you only remember one thing, don't chase lap time on lap one. Chase repeatability, and speed comes after. Now that we've got a baseline lap, here's where I start making small tweaks to make the car feel predictable. Phase two is setup tweaks, but I keep it simple. I'm not trying to build the perfect setup. I'm trying to build a car that I can trust. I start with tire pressures because if the tires aren't stable, the car changes every lap and you can't learn anything. Then I look at the balance. Am I fighting understeer or am I catching oversteer? Then I'll take one small adjustment for rotation and stability, just enough to help the car do what I want without turning it into a nervous mess. One change at a time, 2 or 3 laps, keep what works. Now, once the car feels predictable, we stop guessing, and that's where telemetry comes in. Let's pull up Pi Toolbox and figure out exactly where the lap time is hiding. Alright, this is where learning a track gets way easier, because telemetry doesn't care about how it feels, it shows the truth. When I pull Pi Toolbox up, I'm looking for a few things. First, how hard am I braking? And more importantly, how clean is my brake release? A lot of times, the issue isn't that I'm braking too early or too late, that I hold the brake too long and you never let the car roll speed. Next is throttle. If my throttle trace looks like a staircase, on, off, that usually means I'm fighting the car instead of driving it smoothly. And then the biggest one, minimum speed. If I'm slow at the center of the corner, I can't fix it with a late brake dive. Minimum speed is what creates exit speed, and exit speed is lap time. So once I spot the problem, I make one correction. Either a cleaner brake release, an earlier throttle pickup, or a smoother steering input. And this is where you start seeing real gains fast. Now that we know what the car is doing, let's see how the top split guys attack this corner. This is one of the fastest ways to learn a track, watching the top split guys, because they show you what actually matters. And here's the funny part. A lot of time, they're not doing anything crazy. They're just doing the simple things better. Watch this corner. They brake a little earlier, but the release is smoother, so the car rotates naturally, and they're able to pick throttle up soon. And that's the difference. Not send it deeper, it's earlier rotation and earlier throttle. So now I'm not copying everything they do, I'm stealing the one thing that gives me speed right now. And once you apply that to the 2 or 3 corners that matter most, that's when your lap time starts dropping. Now let's take everything we learned, setup, telemetry, top split lines, and put it all into one clean lap. Alright, this is the lap where it all comes together. I'm not driving this lap thinking about 10 different things, I'm thinking about 3. First, hit the braking marks and release clean. Second, carry minimum speed through the center of the corner. And third, commit to throttle earlier on exit. That's it. And the crazy part is, once you fix those things in only a couple of corners, the lap time just falls out of the car. This is exactly why I love this learning method. Baseline laps, quick tweaks, telemetry proof, top split study, then combine it all into one clean lap. If you want me to do this exact process on another track, comment the track name and I'll run it.